wanted to show you how the GMAT band keeps varying with what happens on your tests with you. So this is the quant section of, this is the verbal section of a student of mine in a mock test where he scored 660. If you see this, you see the structure of the attempts, and when you see that, you see what's happening to him. He started getting questions right. Now the question difficulty, the starting question difficulty was tested him at 600 to 700. He got it correct. It's a sentence correction question. He got it correct. So the question difficulty immediately raised itself to 700 to 800. And score estimation when he got this right was at 38. And as he started getting the 700 to 800 correct, now one thing I need to tell you on the Manhattan tests, the Manhattan does not give you more than 45 on verbal. They don't give you a band of more than 45 on verbal. The maximum band on verbal is 45. So he's starting to hit the 45 band here, and he's continuously getting this right. And then he gets the 700, 800 RC wrong here after 9 questions. And his band is suddenly hit to 38. And then after that, he again starts getting things right. You get 5, 6, 7 questions correct. A mistake here or there does not matter so much in the GMAT as far as you can get the next 6, 7 questions correct. And he's back at 45. But the problem here, he ends up at 35 in this paper. The problem here is that the verbal section is 35 questions. And if you see what has happened to him, he is under tremendous time pressure by this time. 35 questions, 65 minutes. Or 36 questions, 65 minutes, if I remember correctly. That's what they have. Yeah, 36 questions, 65 minutes. So broadly, you are essentially doing a question in, you do a question every 1.8 minutes or so. And 1.8 minutes means 1 minute 50 seconds. So if you see what has happened to him, time-wise in this section, is that he has started crossing this time, but he's of course done a few questions pretty quickly. But there are some problem areas in his solving, and this is a big issue when you end up using 5 minutes on a question, and then 6 minutes on another question, and then 4 minutes here. So what happens, and you're not really gaining time anywhere apart from that. This 1 minute 5 seconds and 52 seconds here is offset by the 222 and the 237, the 217 kind of. So what has happened is by this time, by question 22, he is at 41 minutes. He should be at 41 minutes, but he's reached in 49 minutes. So the pressure on him is 14 questions in the next 16 minutes, which means he's got 1.1 minute per question. So you can see that his correct and wrong ratio has changed during this time. Look at the first 22 questions. Look at his correct wrong ratio. He's got only 1 question wrong here and 1 question wrong here. So it's 2 out of 22 questions that he's got wrong, which means his solving is pretty precise in this test. But because of this problem, now the problem, as I said, when the GMAT, he started getting, and the GMAT is an exam in which your last band is this thing. The band you are at the end of 65 minutes is what is the score. So hitting 45 here is an indication that he's doing well, but because of the time problems that he's got into, from a point where he had 1.8 minutes per question to start with, he's gone down to 1.1 minutes per question. And obviously this has created a crisis here. He tried to do this critical reasoning question, 56 seconds. He's trying to maintain an average, and he's obviously not possible to maintain an average of 1.1 minutes, 1.8 minutes per question के exam है यहाँ पे. I hope you can see the screen. 1.8 minutes per question का exam है. and that's also pretty tight. So you simply cannot just cut off 50% of your time and still maintain that accuracy. And and what happens with him is he's got 24 seconds that he is at. He reaches this question at he finishes this question at 64:53. He reaches this question at 64:29. So he's got 5 questions left on the paper and 31 seconds left. So he's down to 6 seconds per question. Obviously impossible, and that's where you see his score drops drastically at this point from this to this. So the same student did another test after a few learning processes and this thing, and he did score a 780, and his GMAT score ended up at 760. But he was regularly hitting 780 on these exams. So since I've just shown you the verbal section for him in a 660 attempt, I'll also show you the verbal section in a 780 attempt. So if I just share my screen again, this is a 780 attempt from him. And because the Manhattan website, the Manhattan test series never gives more than 45. In Manhattan, you can't go to 800 because 45 and 51 is what you can achieve maximum. And if you see in this test, he's reached 45. So one of the strategies that you see from this exam, see, the first thing that you need to understand, why I'm showing you this is because I'm trying to show you what is required for you to get a 750 plus, right? And as I told you, the individual bands are fine, but you have to look at a total score of 95 plus. Verbal band plus quant band. If you are 95 plus, you are good. So you are the 750 plus range. Of course, if you can hit 102, you are going to be 800. You're going to be one of the few people in the year, every year, who score that. But if you look at this, the verbal section, there was a change of strategy I suggested to him. I mean, I could see that his skill was fine in the paper, and only thing I had to ensure for him was that he should reach the end of the paper. So see what happened in terms of his cumulative time. He ended up solving this entire paper in 49 minutes, 15 minutes before time. And the change of strategy that I told him to do was that you should not get stuck for 3 minutes. One question in 10 is okay, but every second, third question, you cannot be stuck for 3 minutes, 4 minutes. So what we started doing was, and as I said, if you get a couple of questions wrong in between, it's not an issue, because as far as you do a few questions correct, the band adjusts itself. The band will keep going up. As you can see, his band, he got this wrong, his band went down. But you have to ensure that the last 7-8 questions are of the high quality questions and they are all correct. So this is an important aspect of solving the GMAT. Of course, you have to have the skill to get the questions correct. You have to learn the skill of how to identify the right answer. And the verbal section in GMAT pretty much is just 3 question types. Just 3 question types: critical reasoning, sentence correction, and RC. So in that sense, it's a very settled exam. And the verbal section at Mindworkzz will be taught by Meenakshi ma'am. So you'll have the best possible trainers on both the sections together. And we'll of course have some backup faculties also who will take a few practice sessions, but the main sessions for each of the topics, each of the chapters will be done by me or Meenakshi ma'am, either through mere sessions, because maths ka portion काफी लंबा होता है. So we'll give you around 80 to 100 hours of recorded videos on the topics, and then live classes where I'll be discussing the GMAT questions of 700 to 800 how to solve them, how to think inside them, etc. So this is the immediate change. You see this change we were able to achieve in around 15 days, 20 days time in the outcomes. So GMAT is, I mean, of course, you need to do some basic work in case you are not getting things correct. You need to improve the quality of your understanding. अगर language understanding में issue है, if understanding language is an issue, तो preparation थोड़ा लंबा हो जाता है. But अगर language understanding and reading understanding is fine, then it's just a matter of creating a strategy, playing to your strengths. And what I told him was that in between, even if you, I mean, specifically in maths, also sometimes what happens is you come across a question which you don't know what to do. You're not able to see what to do in that question. So rather than sticking to that question for very long, just mark an answer. GMAT does not allow you to skip a question. That's of course a very important difference in the GMAT. It does not allow you to skip a question. So one of the keys that you have to discover about your GMAT solving is that in between, if you get a couple of questions which you don't know, ideally you should know most of the questions. But suppose, I mean, अगर 2-3 क्वेश्चन लगातार you don't know तो बैंड गिर जाएगा, उसके बाद easy क्वेश्चन आने लगेंगे. लेकिन अगर one question every 5-6 questions, if you have this kind of a structure, one question in between you don't know, so rather than wasting 4 minutes, 5 minutes on that question, it's best to mark it in 30 seconds, gain some time and keep going ahead so that you can do the end questions well. So that's a critical part. I mean, of course, you don't need to get to a point where you are getting 3 questions incorrect together, because अगर ये हो जाएगा तो फिर वो under root 21 plus 6 वाले questions आने लगेंगे. X is under root 21 plus 6, what is the value of x square? Those kind of questions you start getting, which means that your band is going really low at that point, right? So having said that, let me also show you the parallel experiences he had on the quant section. Google को तो दिखा दिया मैंने उसको 660, the 660 score in the quant section. That day he had a 35 in verbal and a 45 in quants. So again, you can see this. Let me show that to you now. How the band went for him. And again, you can see the biggest problem in this, he got a 45 band in quants. He was hitting a 48, 49 band, but again, he was out of time. 62 minutes, 31 questions, 2 minutes per question is this thing. And 700, 800 questions sometimes become difficult to do in 2 minutes. You can again see the problem here is that he knows he can solve questions correctly. One question off and on wrong here and there, but if you see broadly, in the first 20 questions, he's got only 3 questions wrong. मतलब इसको solving skill है इस student को. He knows the solving skill, but his problem is essentially the time. So he has to learn methods where he writes less, where he goes, instead of algebraic solving, goes into numerical solving of questions, etc. And GMAT does not have a theta question type. Every question has options. And again, if you see this, he ended up in question 25, which means that the GMAT exam considered 26 to 31 all as incorrect. So his paper was marked as 25th wrong, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and 31 wrong. All these 7 questions wrong. And that's why his band fell from 48, 49, where he was hitting. He even hit 51 in between. But when he got these 4 questions of 700, 800 correct, and then his band ended up 45 because there's a dip in the band because of these questions considered as incorrect for him. So this is the structure. So the same student, as I said, after the change of strategy and after learning better methods to the same questions? Hits a band of 51, where now you can see this attempt where he's starting from 47, gets it correct. And one of the things that I told him was, if there's a question which you don't know, you just mark it rather than struggling with it 5-6 minutes. Yeah, there's no 5-minute question. The maximum he's used is 344, and see this solving here. First 20 questions, 19 of them correct. The next 11 questions, he's reached 31, and he's reached 31 at 58 minutes with 4 minutes to go. So you can see this, and he's hitting the band of 51 at the end, and that's what he got. So 45 in verbal and 51 in quants led him to a 780 here. As I said, Manhattan में 45 से ऊपर देते नहीं है band verbal में. So in a Manhattan test, it's not possible. So this is the structure, and this is the breakup of what you need to achieve in case you want to get to the 780, that coveted 750 plus score. And 750 plus score agar hai, and you write your essays well, the most B school will take you. Most B school will take you. You'll have a lot of options. So that's one of the advantages of going for the GMAT, because you have worldwide global options of actually giving the paper of submitting your scores to. You have pretty much the entire world to apply to. So that's one of the advantages of the GMAT.